Yeah, what teams are these? Just so I can do quick research.
These are okay. Call them Team Howling Abyss.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay. Hello one and all, and welcome to the Mod Master Tournament. Here we are with one of our winners bracket matches, I believe. It's going to be Team Howling Abyss versus Team 4. Of course, both of these teams very strong on different kinds of mods. I feel like Team 4, you're going to be looking at them for a bulk of the hidden and DT comfort with eyes on Su-Young and Nope KJK, both of them incredibly strong players, long-standing tournament veterans of the scene. And just on the HR is more of is an interesting case because it's about scaling somewhat, right? 35k in Jazz, but solid badge representation there. Another tournament veteran in their own right. You know, you look at Howling Abyss, it's going to be ㄸㄴㅁန့ on that hard rock, and that's going to be the main point of contention, right? Is how strong ㄸㄴㅁန့ is going to be on the HR mod alongside ㄸㄴ㄁ on the DTs. Should be a fun one with regards to these pools. Each of these will be having 6 slots to their name, so plenty of things to choose from. This initial first pick, however, is going to be Dream War. This is the DT2. This is 207 BPM Sanj KKK Raw Stamina. Sanj, known for these kinds of stamina maps, where you just gotta shred for as long as possible. It's constant quints and 7-note bursts. Very difficult to hold on to for the remainder of it. I recently had to play this in the tournament, and I was hovering around like 300k, so these players are going to be having significantly better stamina than I would imagine, as we get into it. ㄸㄚ versus Su-Young. Already you're starting to see the act difference here with those couple handful of 100s. These longer stacks, you're going to be seeing some drops on the side of Su-Young. Only a 1/100 difference, make it a non-100 difference. But the bulk of the action in this one is really going to be coming down towards the tail end. Stamina looking incredibly comfortable on each of these players so far through our first quarter. There is a finger control section around the halfway point that you have to look out for, but for now it's going to be a lot more of this. It's the tied accuracy, tied up score lines. The only difference between these two players in the current moment is a 1/100 advantage for ㄸㄚ, and this is a score confidence like no other. It's really just coming down to these significantly longer stacks. Longest stream presented in this map hovers around the 50 combo mark. But here's where the stamina is starting to kick up with this one. It is ㄸㄚ with these act drops now. Once was at 99.5 and is now at 98, giving a 30k score advantage to the side of Su-Young. But again, any kind of combo break, any kind of over-aim or under-aim on these low space stacks will slide it right back over to Garlulu. The combo is going to be gang here. This double FC is still just so scary for these players, but Sooyoung looking incredibly comfortable still, gaining accuracy through that longer burst section and continuing onward. Big triple section here, back into the Quince and the Axel. That is a big point of contention on this map, but both players passing the test with flying colors. Accuracy advantage now represented by a 50k score lead on the side of Sooyoung. There's still a chance for some clawing back on Garlulu's side if Sooyoung was to find a miss here. If you're seeing any shakes in the cursor or nerves on either of these players, but right now, so long as the accuracy stays like this, it's going to be firmly on the side of Team 4, as there's just a handful of seconds remaining, passing the million score mark for each of them. And Sooyoung going to be closing this out. A handful of doubles here with some act drops, but it is going to be the 99% FC by the very tail end of it. And a phenomenal score by Sooyoung and a double FC on the pick. Only coming down to that accuracy, but it's such a strong comparison here. More than double 100s on Garlulu. So that stamina section in that middle half really taking a toll out of the accuracy gains, and Team 4 are going to be getting out of it with a first point. Unfortunately, unsure whose pick that was, but I'm going to assume it was Team 4's here, so it's going to be back on the side of Hong Wolf here with this next pick. They do have, again, plenty of hard rocks here in line. That HR4 or HR5 first pick from their side, ㄸㄴㅁန့ passing that FC with flying colors. This one, another double FC. Incredibly strong stuff here. I expect Hong Wolf to just continue playing ball in this hard rock pool. There's not much weakness represented there. ㄸㄴㅁန့, such a highlight on this team. And it is going to be another hard rock pick. It is the HR3 here with Cyber Thunder. This map chock full of aim control representation, lower BPM flow aim at 145. Some very mild tech elements, but it's mainly focused on the flow aim. Of course, seeing Natu map in this pool, in the hard rock pool. You know him for those flow focused loved maps. This is no exception to the rule. I mean, you could even see it in the slider style, like the intro slider style for this pick. Like, yep, that's not too mapping. All right, you're gonna be seeing some confidence here in some of the wiggles in the aim control. I do think this is an interesting one because it is less mechanics, right? Jazz is pretty solid on these alt and more technical skill sets, but ㄸㄴㅁန့ is far and away one of the better hard rock players in Korea. So definitely going to be hard pressed to find a miss here, but it's not unwinnable for Jazz here. Right now, pretty hefty accuracy advantage though. SS still being held onto by ㄸㄴㅁန့. The quote-unquote FC battles we've been seeing throughout this tournament. Abyss still in line with ㄸㄴㅁ in our first third, but Jazz right behind him with some funny number accuracy. Handful of slider ends dropped, but not going to be the end of the world if any miss were to come through. But it's just so emblematic of the comfort on ㄸㄴㅁ's side. I mean, there is finally a break. It's Jazz with the slider break, a very slight under aim there, unfortunately, for Jazz, and that's going to be starting to fully run away now for ㄸㄴㅁ, who did drop a handful of 100s, but the FC still in line. We'll have to see how far we're going to be taking it. You're already a 100k differential. It's going to take a chain miss and some change, especially with the placement of Jazz's miss and that second one to come through right at the halfway point here is really going to be slashing that potential score in half. And unfortunately, these triangle patterns, these snap aim control elements, Jazz much more comfortable in the flow sections, it would seem. ㄸㄚㅁ continues to hold on. These longer, higher velocity sliders, incredibly tricky to catch the tails of, but going to be no problem for ㄸㄴㅁ. Handful of patterns here, mostly focused on those slider velocities. Up to 98.7 once more for ㄸㄚㅁ. A little bit of combo recoup for Jazz, but in these 1v1 situations, the writing is on the wall. It's a 500k difference. ㄸㄚㅁ popping off on this hard rock as advertised, as planned for Howling Wolf. And just like that, closing out the second FC from ㄸㄚㅁ in a row. HR5 down, HR3 down for a very comfortable first two picks there. Team 4 still likely to be leaning towards the double times here, I would assume. Well, having a look at this DT pool, there's a couple of things that could work with regards to the skill cap potential of a player like Suyong. Something like the DT4 Twilight of Abyss, that 270 kind of hybrid slider map, could be pretty tricky for accessibility purposes on Garlulu, I could say. As well as ㄸㄴKJK on that hidden pool would not be too bad of a shout for some of the more technical maps in that mod pool. Something like a hidden 4 with that control tech could be a good shout for a player like ㄸㄴKJK. That pedal control tech known for the snappy patterns there. Right now, just a little bit of deliberation from our team. And it's going to be split X from the hidden pool. This is going to be our hidden 3 pick, a big flowing focus here. The CS 3.5, 170 BPM flow streams at high CS. Going to be adding quite a solid levels of comfort to this pick, right? The flow in here, there's not much accel decel flow. It's more just one note, very high spacing, but very consistent spacing. And that's what ㄸㄚKJK is looking to pounce on here with that flowing coverage. This does feel like a little bit of a contested pick here, right? ㄸㄴ, admittedly a player I am not super familiar with, but having a look at some of their leaderboard scores and similar things. It seems like they thrive in this sort of flowy environment. Plenty of low BPM flow scores in the tops, plenty of hidden comfort as represented by them being selected for the mods. So a map like this where the difficulty is a lot more consistency forward, right? Like this pick isn't tremendously difficult, but unfortunately, as soon as I say that, that is a massive overaim from ㄸㄴㅁ on the hidden. The AR in this pick is going to be AR 9.5, so just in that middle range, but the overaim can still come through if you are not comfortable with some of the density difficulty of these lower BPMs. Handful of aim sections here, some recovered combo, but again, no KJK. These modded players doing their job, holding on tight to the FC, 99% and growing for Team 4. ㄸㄴㅁ now coming up with some solid recovery combos here, up to 400. Just 150k behind ㄸKJK at the halfway point here. If ㄸKJK was to break in this XL section, it would be enough for ㄸㄴㅁ to come back, worth to hold the FC, but it's ㄸKJK fully in control of that wiggle 1/3 section. Very dicey with some of this map aim there. Some of the slider velocity as well. Incredibly tricky to nail down, but ㄸKJK gaining accuracy, gaining momentum, still holding on to the FC. And unfortunately for ㄸㄴㅁ, it may just come down to those early overaims. It's been very consistent gameplay ever since those first couple of streams. But it is an ㄸKJK show. 200k score lead and growing. Big spacing change here. A handful of stacks as well to catch you off guard. It's these big momentums and it forces you to stop on a dime. And ㄸKJK is still holding onto that FC. I believe potential score-wise is enough to win the map now, 800k. Unfortunately, ㄸㄴㅁ lost out on getting above 800k with those earlier breaks on the accuracy, but with all eyes on ㄸKJK, can they close out this 99.5 hidden FC with just a few moments remaining? Painful couple notes here. One final stream and loses on a slider break. That's so unfortunate for the FC. But the job has been done on ㄸKJK. The 0 miss. We could call it an FC. Nobody will notice the difference. It's a loss of like maybe 3 combo. Really phenomenal stuff there from these initial picks. And for those playing along at home, for that accuracy with hidden on the leaderboard, would have nailed ㄸKJK around the 25 mark if it was Scorpy1. So, really solid leaderboard there for ㄸKJK. Speaks in here as we await the next pick from the side of Hollywood. If the first 2 picks were any representation, I assume it's just gonna be down the line with this hard rush, right? Alexisma looking so comfortable in both that HR5 and HR3. Looking at some of the other maps in that mod pool, you have to wonder with something like an HR1, if there's any skill cap potential there for a map like that. But it's going to be DT5. Going into Horizon Blue, this is 230 BPM finger control, air 10.3. This set is normally like a rhythm map for the top diff in some open rank tournaments. Very popular hard rock pick, but lower diff on the double time going to be representing that rhythm, representing that finger control. Could be very tricky for some of the slider patterning there. And this makes a lot of sense if you are Team Howling Wolf, right? Sooyoung is a phenomenal mechanical player and is great at DC overall. But Garalulu and ㄸㄴㅁန့, these are players that really live in these technical skill sets, prefer the ballpark of a DT4 in traditional tournament, and this is going to be pretty close to that. A much longer pick as well. The FC on this one hovers around 1,700 combos, 2 minutes and 30 seconds straight of this finger control. In we go with our two DT specialists here. Going to be starting us off pretty slow. Handful of buzz sliders and triples, but once we get into the weeds of it, it is all gas, no brakes, with these 230 BPM first. 230 BPM a little bit more comfortable. This map is featuring a little bit less stamina. It's raw finger control focus here. And once again, it's Sooyoung with the higher accuracy to boot. These buzz sliders are so tricky with the finger control, right? Because if you're not comfortable on this 230 BPM burst, being able to hold onto the buzz sliders at the tail end, you could find some early releases, you could find some slight under aim. The snap aim represented by both of these players, so staggering. Just a couple of slider breaks for Garalulu's first break out here, and unfortunately, already momentum shifting, and Sooyoung looking so comfortable here. It does an axe drop from both on this lower section, and it's still plenty of time. Sooyoung finds the break, but combo is going to be king here, and holding on to this FC along the halfway point. People along the 230 burst there. Got really scary for Sooyoung in that section, but it's just a single break from Garalulu that's causing the difference. As Garalulu now up on the accuracy for just a moment. That break on the 1/3 section, though, is not going to be helping things. Cause for concern if you are a fan of Team Howling Wolf here. Sooyoung back up to 98%, still holding on to the FC as we get into our next big finger control section. The buzz sliders, the slider velocity all ramping up a little bit harder, trying to stack read some of these out. Some of these stacks are triples, some are doubles, some are quads. Gotta keep a sharp focus here on the reading element. And unfortunately for Garalulu, that final break is going to be all but confirmation of the inevitable. Sooyoung holding on to the FC. 1 million score surpassed, 500k score lead. What a performance for Team 4 as they nail out the first break point of the match. And right now on the side of Team 4 for their own picks, we are at a full FCs, right? Like, Sooyoung has FC'd this breakpoint. They've FC'd the DT2. They've FC'd, well, for all intents and purposes, FC'd the Hidden 3, barring that unfortunate slider break from no KJK. Awaiting that next pick now from the side of Team 4. I mean, they've FC'd 2 DTs in a row. I would be shocked if they didn't go for it again, but it's going to be Hard Rock 1 picked by Team 4. That is a shocking pick. Going into the Raw Aim Hard Rock map. Going into the HR1 against ㄸㄴㅁ, I mean, out of any map in this Hard Rock pool, I felt like this was the one where there might be the most skill cap potential, right? It's raw, big aim, 7 stars, 200 BPM. It's something that a player like ㄸㄴㅁ should be just fine on, but maybe they're banking on the raw aim comfort of a player like Jess, like the gamble potential of a pick like this. Again, it's pretty much equivalent to picking Nomad 1 in this pool, right? Like, this is as standard of an aim map as you're going to be seeing in this kind of mod pool. And with that, I mean, looking very solid for Team 4 as they go into this one. ㄸㄴㅁ ready to pounce, maybe take that breakpoint back. Just waiting for players to get in their initial slots here. It's Jazz in the lobby, ㄸㄴㅁ hopping in suit, both of our HR specialists. And we go with our HR1, standard, traditional raw aim, represented here for this one. And I feel like we've been seeing a little bit of the same story here, right? It's ㄸㄴㅁ holding on to the higher accuracy in the beginning. Jazz with a handful of 100s in this big game, but gonna be all about the combo, right? He's gonna be looking for any potential over aims. This intro section before our first TI gonna be pretty free by comparison, but we're starting to see some of the aim patterns represented, these back and forths, the squares. Unfortunately, Jazz, right at the start of this TI, is looking a little shaky on that aim front. It's some slight over-aims on some of the triples. I mean, it's because of the spacing changes, right? That time it's an over-aim by virtue of that top right corner. Kakizi would be just as besmirched by that miss as Jazz is currently, but ㄸㄴㅁ is still holding on to the SS, and I hate to say it, but this feels like a little bit of a mispick from Team 4, barring any pick rules I may be unsure of, but ㄸㄴㅁ looking so confident on this HR mod again. $340k and growing at the halfway point again. Jazz with some recovery combo. If ㄸㄴㅁ were to miss here, the potential score would be sliced and diced in quite a big way. Jazz would have to FC the rest of the map, but there is potential for it. As we hop into our second TI, big div spike, obtuse angle jumps, handful of cut patterning as well. The shake on Jazz's cursor on these triples though, when they come through, is so intimidating. But it's ㄸㄴㅁ dropping nothing more than a single 100 out of that second TI. Both players hold and combo through it. It's going to take a chain break from ㄸㄴㅁ at this point, a handful of them, to prevent him from making it over the 750k mark, which I think Jazz just doesn't have enough potential score for. But there's the first break from ㄸㄴㅁ. There's the opening that Jazz needed for this pick. It is a long road to victory, but there is potential for it. Unfortunately, that potential squandered with regards to an early tap on a slider break for Jazz. All she wrote for that combo, and now ㄸㄴㅁ running away with it now. This accuracy helping the situation multiple folds. Just one miss and 1/100 to the name. Make it 2 misses, but not going to matter with this 210k lead going into our final handful of 1-2 jumps. Job done. Break points traded for each of these teams as we are now 3-3 going into the halfway point of this match. DT5, HR1 traded between them, 3-3 going into the next pick, over back to Howling Wolf's side, and it's an interesting strategy here, right? All of Howling Wolf's points so far have been on Hard Rocks. It's the HR1, HR3, HR5, all phenomenal scores from ㄸㄴㅁန့, but the well has got to run dry at some point, right? We are running desperately low on HR maps here, going into our final few picks, and we need to start seeing some success on the DTs, on the hiddens, for this to go all the way. But that is fully in control of Team 4, actually, as I've just been informed of the pick rule. That's actually a really cool concept. I like the 2-2-2 for each team. It's going to be Hidden 1 coming through for Howling Wolf here. And again, you're going to be seeing the similar vibe from the modded picks. When there is a clear advantage on certain things, right? Like ㄸㄴㅁန့, phenomenal at these technical hidden maps. So where do you go? You go to the raw mechanics hidden map. You go to ㄸㄴㅁ뾱 Paradise. It's 220 BPM mechanics. The longest map in this pool, I believe, by a handful of seconds here. 3 minutes 45 seconds. Getting pretty close to that 4-minute mark on this one. So you're looking for the consistency aim to come through. Big snap aim, big mechanics here for this one. ㄸㄴㅁ trying to get some points off in this hidden mod pool. ㄸㄴㅁ prepped and ready though. Standout plays in the Hippo Cup match just a few moments ago. Notably, one of the most iconic ones coming through in that HR1, which was similar, very big aim focus. So ㄸㄴㅁ needs to hold through for quite a long time here. One would assume the comfort on each of these players. 220 burst, matching accuracies once again. Were these teams so consistent in our first half? It's just comes back to the fall apart, which happens usually in these first PIs, and once again, that story being told, ㄸㄴㅁ with a slight overaim on these big snap aim linears, these 1-2s. So easy to find a slight overaim on with the snap enforcement. You need super snappy aim for those kinds of things, and ㄸㄴ, unfortunately with that only break. Very solid accuracies from both of these players though. If ㄸㄴㅁ finds a chain miss anywhere, it is still very big potential for ㄸㄴ because of the accuracy comfort on each. But right now, it is KJK's combos, his 500 combo up as we make it to our halfway point. Just about 2 minutes into this pick, it's the triangle jump for ㄸㄴ to find the break. And ㄸKJK holding on tight to this FC may just be enough to secure things. If he can hold on to the tail end of the TI, it will be it, as act drops for each are not going to matter in the face of this combo. ㄸKJK, all eyes on you. See if he can close out the FC here. KJK is still holding on tight to the FC. 99%, a slight overaim for ㄸㄴ, unfortunately. Coming through with the comfort here, big triangle jumps, big back and forth 1-2s, the spacing. So envious, but other than a handful of 100s in the face of these 220 bursts, it's ㄸKJK holding on to the FC once again. Team 4 just looks so indomitable on some of these maps. A little bit of Xane jumps for your money in these final patterns of the map. I am scared to say anything more with regards to the FC being held. Don't want to curse things again, but that final slider will confirm it. It is a second FC from ㄸKJK here. A perfect combo as well. None of those slider ends dropped. For another breakpoint to come through on the mod comfort. Team 4. Looking so strong here as they retake the lead and have their pick up next. They do still have another DT pick remaining as well as a hidden pick. They have one pick from every mod remaining for Team 4. Howling is down. See, no more HR picks though, so whatever the final Hard Rock map is for Team 4 is fully in the hands of them. It's going to be a DT3 pick coming out from them now. DT3 going to be beyond the boundary, 270 BPM bursts represented in this one. For, again, another very combo-dense map. The FC here is 1800 combo. This is a map I've personally played in tournament, and it is fairly straightforward, but you could be thrown off by some of the aim elements in this map in between bursts if you're a little less comfortable on the higher BPM. Lots of quint spam and 7 bursts with some very snappy triangles in between. Suyong again in this DT pool so far is 2 for 2 on FCs as well. Carl Lulu looking to keep up here, trying to break this consistency of Suyong. In we go with the 270 burst. It really just throws you straight to the wolves with this one. A handful right off the rip. And again, if you're Team 4 on this DT pool, you're looking for the mechanical difference, right? It is Howling Wolf to try and pick into some of the more technical DT maps here. Young, of course, a top 100 player, one of the best at DT in South Korea. Very intimidating to try and get him to fall off on this style of map, but it is possible with some of the density difficulties there. Area DT, or Area 8.4, I believe, a pre-DT, so very dense in comparison to your usual DT map. Can find these covering, can find some trick region, but right now it's just this accuracy advantage, as has been consistent throughout this match. Young with the act advantage, 2% right now in comparison. As long as Garlulu holds on to the combo, once a break comes through, there is a chance. As we make it to our third mic, there's 1k combo remaining in the map. A little slow section before our next PI. And you have to wonder about the nerves on that break, right? Both of the players seeing the score, seeing both players holding on to the combo. Garlulu knows what he has to do to secure this point, and unfortunately not going to come to fruition. Too young, so indomitable in this kind of map. It's going to be hard pressed to find him drop any combos here. And he goes 3 for 3 on double time FC. That would be an unreal performance from him if it were to come through. Just 400 combo remaining for Sooyoung. A handful of 100s dropped on these snappy aim sections in between the bursts. 270. So hard to be comfortable on, but the long burst there still assessed by Sooyoung. That's gonna do it. 900k and throwing. Unfortunately, just the placement of that break from Garlulu, right around that 900 combo mark. Really unfortunate breaks there, but Sooyoung with the FC makes it clear. You're not beating him on this DT pool. 3 for 3 on FCs for Sooyoung in the DT pool. Just the one slider break for Garlulu. Back over to the side of Howling Wolf there. It is 1 point until a match point for Team 4, so this is an incredibly important pick. And it's back to the DTs with a DT6 from Garlulu. Garlulu needs to do his best to try and break this consistency streak of Sooyoung. He thinks he can do it with Peekaboo by Red Velvet. This is going to be our snap aim control pick. Very short, very volatile in comparison to the other maps in these pools. This map just a little under 2 minutes in length. Very snappy, very aim forward for these players. Looking for Garlulu getting some practice and Jazz in the lobby for some timer watching, as a standard here. In we go finally, both players in. Sooyoung, Garlulu, snap, aim, peekaboo. 170 BPM here for the snap aim elements. Nothing super dense in this map. It's going to be back to this Air 10.3. Handful of free combo in this beginning section, but you have to watch out for these reading again. In some of these stacks at this high BPM, the back and forth so tricky, so volatile. And this pick is mostly for Garlulu to try and snap the consistency of Sooyoung. He's picked and won 2 tapping picks, as well as getting that breakpoint on the DT4. The 230 BPM pick and control wasn't enough to take him out either. And Garlulu, for the first time on this DT pool, coming through with some accuracy advantage, may be the difference maker for this pick. It's just a handful of 100s, but it's showing some cracks in the armor for Sooyoung. Some potential for Garlulu to get it there, and it's an over aim on that kick slider. Garlulu holding onto the FC 2/3 in. These big triangles, I mean, it is so snappy. It's so difficult to read at this AAR, but Garlulu looking comfortable and looking to get his first win on this DT pool. The final pick for Team Howling Wolf is in the hidden pool now, but this is a massive success for Garlulu, who's still holding on to the FC this way through. It came down to just one kick slider break for Sooyoung. The placement of it was everything, and Garlulu closing out the FC in style with just a handful of patterns remaining. These linear sliders, the back and forth, so dicey. But 1.1 million confirmed for Garlulu, and it's gonna be back over to Team 4's pick. Team 4 still just 1 point away from match point here. Howling Wolf need a break point and to win their own pick to get this through. There is a Hard Rock map remaining, so it looks like we're gonna be tied up. Team 4 likely to pick that Hard Rock map next. Whichever it may be. I would assume it's going to be maybe something like the HR4 slider tech I could see, or HR2 precision, one of the two. Could be solid here. But it's going to be hidden 4 first. We're going to be going into that controlled tech pick I was talking about earlier with ㄸㄴㅁ. This feels like just ㄸㄚJK's bread and butter, right? They want to confirm the match point before anything else goes down. Because the final pick from them is going to be confirmed a Hard Rock pick, and the final pick for Team 4 is for sure a hidden pick. So getting ㄸㄚJK warmed up, prepped and ready for this one. And in terms of the stats of this map, it's very similar to that previous pick, similar to Split X in that regard, both with BPM and with the approach rates. So looking very comfy here so far for Team 4 on these hidden maps. ㄸㄴㅁ looking to get a breakpoint somewhere along the road to try and even this matchup for Team Howling Wolf. But already you're starting to see some of these patterns very emblematic of petal mapping, some of the linears, some of the big wiggle streams as well, the squares, the linears, very geometrical, I would say, is the word for petal mapping. But right now both of these players looking actually very strong in this intro. Some of the slider velocity here, going to be dropping some accuracy on ㄸㄴㅁ just by 1/100 difference. ㄸㄴㅁ to trade it. And still, no big key eyes or diff spikes in this first quick moment. Big triangle, big wiggle pattern, and both players hold on tight into our first key eye. And now you're looking at the spacing changes, right? Some wide angle jumps mixed in with these snappy triangles. And it's that over-aim, unfortunately, for ㄸㄴㅁ, the stream striking him out there. The awkward angle of it was almost adjacent to a Kirby mix map. And it's going to be the first break for either of these players. ㄸㄴㅁ with that drop. ㄸㄴㅁ taking the reins in combo once more. It's only a 60k difference for now, but that 99% is showing some pretty gnarly comfort. Both players holding on, a little bit of recovery here for ㄸㄴㅁ, but unfortunately as soon as I mention it, it's going to go down in that very awkward sort of velocity change section. As we hop into our second key eye, it's still just ㄸㄴㅁ holding onto the FC, and the well has broken for ㄸㄴㅁ with regards to the consistency on this map. A little bit of score drop to stay around the 300k mark. So volatile there for ㄸㄴㅁ, but ㄸㄴㅁ holding on to the FC and just a quarter of the map remaining. These slight axle patterns, the control, some of the overlaps as well is very demanding on your reading. But ㄸㄴㅁ looking so confident here on this hidden pool so far. Can he go 3 for 3 on scores above 1 million, I'll say, because of that split X slider break. Accuracy still growing, 99.3 for ㄸㄴㅁ, just 100k score to go. A handful of triangles and most of the combo density exhausted. It is ㄸㄴㅁ with a phenomenal performance on the hidden pool. Once again, the cross screen doesn't strike him out. It's a second FC, third score above a mil for ㄸㄴㅁ, and Team 4 confirm match point with that one. Just so confident here. And for Team Red, this feels like a scary situation, right? Because immediately after this, you have to go into another hidden map. It's your final pick, and it has to be a hidden map. You go into Hidden 6. It's going to be Shonen Wasora. This is CS0 with some slight reading difficulty here in some of the stacks. Some of the rhythm reading, some of the overlaps, lots of snappy patterns mixed in between. And this is as close as we're going to get to a practice map in this pool, right? For ㄸㄴㅁ, this is a must-win situation for this match. Both of these teams in the winner's bracket. But Howling Wolf looking to stay alive. in this match, maybe bring it to tiebreaker with that HR final pick from Team 4 looming over the horizon, but it all comes down to this. Some good luck, have funs in the chat. We're gonna go into it. Minute 44 in length. Shonen wa Sora. And it's a big chain miss for both players early on. ㄸㄴㅁ taking a brunt of the damage, down at 90% right now. And this is finally the opening Dolce needed. ㄸㄴㅁ in those first few picks did not miss at all. Right? It was one singular slider break in those first 3 hidden nets for ㄸㄴㅁ. And finally the well is starting to break. But unfortunately, it's a quick slider break for Dolce on those snap wiggles. And ㄸㄴㅁ back to taking the reins with the recovery combo. The best place to break is very early in the map. And it's showing that there is some life for Dolce and for Howling Wolf to make it and bring this to grand, bring it to tiebreaker. But ㄸㄴㅁ fully in the driver's seat now, holding on to these back and forths. The combo color changes showing different starts and stops in the rhythm, but Dolce with that slider break, I think, is going to be enough for ㄸㄴㅁ to win it. That was incredibly scary there with that slow section barely making it over to the note. But ㄸㄴㅁ, just a early morning hiccup for him. With just a handful of patterns remaining, this 1/3 section, back and forth with those kick sliders. Dolce with this recovery combo, but ㄸㄴㅁ making it above the 700k line will be enough to close out this match in a 7-4 fashion. Team 4 once again so dominant on those hiddens and double times. You'd be hard pressed to see them break anywhere in those mod pools. We saw some cracks in the armor. We saw that DT6 breakpoint. But unfortunately for Team Howling Wolf, it is ㄸㄴㅁ, it's Su Young, and it's Jazz to take another victory in this winners bracket. But it's not going to be the end here for our matches. We do still have one more to come up. We are actually currently underway with that match. It's Steam Happy versus the British Dental Association for our other match ongoing. Steam Happy, the team of Skylar, Kyburn, and Jakon. British Dental Association, F2X, My Keyboard, and Choco. That's another incredibly scary team in this tournament. But we are going to be going straight over to that one. In the meantime, I'll give you a quick rundown of how those first few matches have gone. Or how the first few maps have gone, sorry. It was a DT3 first pick for the for Steam Happy, Jakon getting that FC. F2X closing out his own solid score on Flyaway for a point there. And Jakon once again on the DT6 getting a point there. So DT's firmly in the grasp of Steam Happy for these first few picks. F2X rocking the hard rocks, and Choco beating out Skylar in a very narrow fashion on that hidden 4. We did just see that first HR pick come through for the side of Steam Happy here. It's Kyburn getting a point off F2X on the Cider Thunder Cider. And with that point, we are going to be tied up 3-3 going into our next pick here. Right now, the pick currently ongoing is the Hidden Six. Back over to Shonenwa. This is a pick from the British Dental Association. Skyware looking to take the mantle here